Hey mama, did you know you're a superhero? That's right, believe it. What's your superpower, you ask? Your intuition. We have a unique sixth sense for what our kids need and when they need it. My tribe and I call this mom sense. When you're a first-time parent, it's scary and lonely and so exhausting. I know this all too well. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda-Gupta. I'm a journalist, entrepreneur, and now a mother of 3, twin toddlers and a baby, or my 2-for-1 and BOGO special. I was thrown into the deep end of motherhood, and it was sink or swim. I made a plan of action with my husband, built my village, met the right people, asked a ton of questions, and have learned so much in these early years. It's okay if you don't have time to read all the parenting books out there. And if you're watching YouTube videos on how to increase your supply while nursing or pumping, and simultaneously posting in your neighborhood mommy group and buying diapers on Amazon. I've been there. That's why I launched my podcast for the mom on the go. You can passively listen when you're doing a drop-off in your minivan, heading to work on the subway, or cooking dinner for your family. I interview industry experts and real-life mamas on their mom sense experiences, tackling topics like what to expect when you're done expecting, dealing with mom guilt, how to teach your kids to meditate, rekindling your marriage, and how to master your 5-minute makeup routine. And you know what the best part is? Each episode has tangible takeaways, homework that's fun, so you feel somehow changed for the better after listening to it. Not to mention relatable stories, inspiring quotes, and the best product recommendations from fellow moms. #MomWin. Grab your latte that probably went from steaming hot to ice cold and take a listen to That's Total Mom Sense. I'm a busy mom of 3, and I do not have the time to contour or deal with tons of brushes in my makeup bag. I'm all about cutting the clutter. That's why I made the switch to Wander Beauty. Their products double up so you have all the essentials while saving you space and stress. And by the way, the products are clean and cruelty-free. And get this, I can do a full face of glam makeup in 5 minutes flat. In my minivan. Now that's pretty awesome. As my personal gift to my listeners, enter promo code MOMSENSE20 for 20% off all Wander Beauty products. Thank you for being in my tribe. Rebecca Minkoff is a global icon in the fashion industry, and she's been in the business for nearly 20 years and launched her brand along with her brother Uri. In 2015, she won Best Interactive Retail and Top Innovator at the Fashion 2.0 Awards. She's a multifaceted woman. She's also a wife, mom of 3, founder of the Female Founders Collective, and hosts her very own podcast, SuperWomen. Rebecca, it is an honor to have you on my show.
I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. I feel like you're living the dream, but you worked your butt off for that dream, and now you're helping other women live their dreams. And it's such an incredible journey that you've had. So I want to kind of start from the beginning, from your childhood and how you grew up in San Diego. So tell us about that.
I grew up in San Diego. It was an idyllic, perfect, in my opinion, perfect little life. Fell in love with the craft of sewing and design when I was about 8 years old. I wanted this dress. My mom refused to buy it for me, but she taught me how to sew. And I just became obsessed with the idea that I could create my own things. At the time, I regret feeling this way about it then, but I was very painfully thin.
Okay.
And couldn't fit into clothing. And so the fact that I could tailor it to fit me gave me a lot of confidence. So
that's wonderful.
Just something I had a lot of passion about, and then decided when I was 18 to move to New York and see what would happen, but I had to be in the fashion industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I read about and watched videos about was that your parents kind of raised you in a way to think that you didn't grow up with as much, right? Like it was like you had to earn your living.
Yes.
Your parents, what they've earned is theirs, and you have to kind of find your own path. And I love that as a value that they imparted to you. So tell me about that.
I think, my dad was a doctor or is a doctor. My mom was a nurse, but it never felt like we were middle class in our household. Everything we wanted, there was just this expectation of you got to earn it. There was a green ledger in the kitchen, and we would have our balances there. And if we wanted something, we had to do work to earn that money.
Wow.
And so I think that I probably thought that being a doctor was not a good career, that we were poor.
Right.
But I think they really wanted to raise humans that were self-sufficient and could go after what they wanted and wouldn't be sort of given everything as a handout. And that definitely changes your own perception of work and what you need to do to earn things.
Absolutely. And so why did you choose to move to New York and, you took an internship instead of college? Why were you like, no, this is what I'm going to do?
So I think with our progressive household, college was an option. And I went and looked at a school and thought to myself, this is the last place I could see myself being.
Oh, wow.
And I just felt ready to work. I had an opportunity that was not well paid at all. It was below minimum wage. But the fact that I could move here, make a little bit of money to eat, and get started in fashion just felt like this is what students who graduate are striving to do. So I'm going to sort of skip that step.
Yeah, that's so smart.
Yeah, and then my aunt pressured me into going to school and that I'd be nothing without it. So I did enroll at FIT for about a semester and left. I just felt like, what am I doing here? I've learned this already.
Right. And so you kind of wore many hats where you worked, and you kind of learned the business and the trade that way, right?
Yeah, so I knew the trade as far as design. I had been doing that at that point for, a very long time. But I think in my internship, she had me for months at a time working shipping, then in sales, then in PR. Right. And I got to touch all aspects of the company. Looking back, I didn't know anything, but I thought I knew a lot about each part of it. I knew enough to get started. So that was very helpful. And then I settled in with a paid job there as designer.
Okay. If you could just go back in time and be that 18-year-old version of yourself, how would you feel now? You have your own line, very successful business in the industry, and you've, made your mark.
Yeah.
Like, is it just surreal?
I think sometimes it's surreal, and other times you have felt every bit of mountain rock that you're climbing up with your fingernails. So then you're like, no, it feels this good. Or, the times when you let yourself, I rarely do, but when I do let myself feel that good, I'm like, well, I worked really hard for it.
Hell yes.
But I very distinctly remember a conversation I had with an ex-boyfriend in LA when I was 21, and I said, I don't think I'll ever be as successful as this friend of ours who's a very famous musician. I said, I just don't see that that's in the cards for me.
Okay.
And to look back and see what's been accomplished between my brother and I and the teams we have, I would have told myself then, like, chill out, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, exactly. You'll do okay. That's awesome. What is it like working with your brother, Uri?
I don't know any different, but I know that when you have if you're a single founder, you have your own set of challenges, right?
Yes.
You don't have that person to bounce things off of and help you be that other terminal that you can communicate with. So I know co-founders all have their own pluses and minuses. So our pluses are we were both raised with the same values. We have the same work ethic. We have the same integrity and morals. We're brother and sister. Do we fight? Yes. Do sometimes things we're disagreeing about veer off into like brother-sister territory, and that can cloud the argument. But I think we've worked really hard in the last few years to just get along, keep the drama as little as possible, and just focus on building the business.
Right. So today is September 10th, and it's a very significant day because this was the day you had your first fashion show.
It is.
And that was 18 years ago?
Yeah.
So do you remember anything about that show?
I do. It was a group show. So a gentleman who has a very successful PR company called Bradbury Lewis was just starting out, and he got his clients together who didn't have enough money to have a show and said, hey, we'll do 5 of you or 4 of you, and you'll each have 5 looks.
Okay.
And I just was like, this is it. I will have made, I remember the show ending, and I was like, I've made it.
Yes.
And I just was so elated that, like, I don't know who was in that audience, frankly, and maybe there were a couple of PR people in the audience, but it just felt like this pinnacle New York moment. It was on 10th Avenue before it was 10th Avenue now.
Yeah.
At a gallery space, but it just felt like everything you dream about had, like, up to that point,
just materialized. And that's so cool. What were the looks?
I had 5 items, like 5 outfits that I had designed. So one was a denim tuxedo, one was a pinstripe tuxedo, one was a sort of blouse, a leather skirt. I made everything. So
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow. And so the day after,
Yes.
9/11 shook our entire world.
Yeah.
But you took it upon yourself to give back with your I Love New York t-shirts. So tell us about that philanthropic.
So I had actually sent an I Love New York shirt that I had cut up and bedazzled to Jenna Elfman, who was on Dharma and Greg.
Of course.
I had sent it to her on probably the 9th or maybe the 8th because she had requested it. So by the time she got it, it was the 13th. And so that was something she decided to wear on Jay Leno.
Oh, okay.
So it was something that you could never have like planned.
Yeah.
Or
everything
anticipated.
happens for a reason, right? It just,
So Jay said, I like your shirt. She said, thanks, it's Rebecca Minkoff. And the next day, I mean, this was when email was still kind of in its infancy, but like my email was flooded with like, I saw your shirt on Jay Leno. And I was getting inquiries from media and magazines. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to capitalize on this, but I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm going to give 100% of my proceeds to, at the time, the Red Cross. And hopefully that this helps with something.
That's amazing. It's so great that you were able to give back in that way, and just showcase the power and resilience that is New York. Your morning after bag was a phenomenon.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
I really designed the morning after bag as an accessory to the collection. I was just going to have one. And again, Jenna asked for it. I sent it to her. She was going to wear it in a movie. It did not make it to the movie because FedEx delivered it. Okay. And I made two, one for her, one for me as like a press sample. And I was just getting enough interest from women on the street that I thought there's something to this. So showed it to a friend of mine who was a buyer at a store. And she said, I know someone from Daily Candy. I don't know if anyone
of course
remembers Daily Candy.
Yeah.
And she'll write about it and I'll buy 12 units for the store.
Okay.
So I didn't know what to expect, but within minutes of the story going live, the bag was sold out. They reordered 75 units, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the kind of, heat I've been waiting for with the brand.
Right.
And that's when I started figuring out, like, oh my gosh, I can't just buy these dog clips at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And I can't just, this could become a real business.
Exactly.
So called my dad, said, will you loan me some money? He said, no. I wasn't surprised. Call your brother and we'll see. So my brother originally was just like loaning me like how much is production expenses to buy the next batch of leather, $2,000. Okay, here's $2,000, then you pay me back. Okay, the next batch, $10,000. Okay, I'll buy you that, pay me back.
My God. And you were making all of these yourself?
No, I was making them here in New York City.
Okay, yeah.
And once he could see the numbers start to jump, from he was giving me $10,000, then $25,000, then $50,000. He was like, hold on a second, what's going on?
Right,
and when he like lifted up the head, he's like, oh, okay, this is a big business.
Yes.
Let me make this more formal.
Right. Yeah, you were onto something. And so then tell us what happened next, like how it kind of became this label and,
So I think at the time, again, right around the dawn of social media, it was 2005, we started having a very strong interest with specialty stores, then with department stores, and then with the early blogs and websites and forums. There was one in particular called the Purse Forum, where it's just girls talking about bags and brands all day, and they had a dedicated section for me. And when I came across this, I said, oh my God, this is my fan base. I should talk to them. So when I began that dialogue, there was an immediate like, what, you're talking to us? We don't, designers never talk to their customers, which is normal now. But back then it was very, a famous department store said, you shouldn't talk to your customer. They're beneath you. And my brother and I really felt like that was not the future. So we decided to double down on social just to have the conversation with her, not because there was a strategy or, at that time there were no ways to drive business.
Exactly.
But it was a conversation, and it was access to these women and listening to them and getting to know them.
Yeah.
So we really used social media in absence of big, deep pockets to really grow our company.
Absolutely. And I think that that's the integrity of your brand. You really, really know your customer, and you kind of showcase who she is. Like I am many. There's so many different women who love and wear Rebecca Minkoff, and you represent all of them. So how did you kind of weave in diversity into the DNA?
I mean, I don't think it was something that you had to weave in. I think when I look at who my customer is, she is diverse.
Right.
So why wouldn't I reflect her back?
Right,
in that scenario. So back when it was just models on the runway, I've always, since our first runway show, made sure to have a diverse set of women. When then we said, okay, let's look at body types. Let's have short women, tall women, thin women, larger women, big boobs, small boobs,
That's awesome.
Let's do influencers on our runway. And I think it's just keeping that conversation and that thread going. And maybe it seems like I'm on the bandwagon now, but I think if you get your Sherlock hat on and go back, you'll see that it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, oh, that's great. And one other thing that you kind of advocate for is sustainability. So how is that woven into the brand?
I advocate for it in a very specific way because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the leather I use is sustainable or the plants that we manufacture in are all LEED certified.
Yeah.
So I'm very upfront about that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think I'm making inroads where I can, and it's a lot slower than I would like. But the inroads that we made thus far is our plastic in our packaging is recyclable, our cardboard is recyclable. We've eliminated hangers starting next year. But I think the sustainable portion really comes into play when you look at the the biggest producers of waste are fast fashion for the environment and for just goods that just get thrown away or burned.
Right.
So by transitioning to a see, buy, wear model, these brands can no longer copy you and get product to market ahead of you at a quarter of the price.
Yep.
And so if you look at it from a perspective of, let's say more designers took this approach and didn't show a season ahead, no one could copy them.
Yes.
And the two biggest or three biggest criminals in that industry wouldn't have anything to copy. The consumer wouldn't shop there. They'd shop at the brands.
Right.
And you'd very quickly eliminate a huge source of waste in the industry.
Yes,
and,
that's so
and
smart.
shady practices. So I think that I look at it from that perspective, not just as I use vegetable leather, which I would love to use. Newsflash, my consumer doesn't like it. But I think we're trying to look at it from a macro versus just sustainable in terms of recycling and eco-friendly.
So tell us about your collection this season. We're smack dab in the middle of Fashion Week now, so I'm so glad you're here chatting with me. But what was your presentation like?
So my presentation was all about working women. And I think from the women I personally work with every day to the 5,000 women, I don't know all of them personally, but from the Female Founder Collective, just to the editors, stylists, the women that make this industry grow, I'm just inspired by us.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of an ode to those women and showcasing in a surreal type experience, an office space, very brightly colored and filled with women in different options for workwear.
Okay. Wow. That's great. And what were some of the colorways and textures?
There was some beautiful fuchsias, reds, lavenders, plaids, studded items. You should just... Instead of trying to listen to me describe it, just go online and see
get a visual. Get a visual, yes. And what about your capsule collab with StichFix?
So we've been working with StichFix since 2017, and they came to me with this opportunity to launch Plus and inclusive sizing, and I literally, didn't hesitate because I think that it's a customer I've been wanting to serve for a long time. And she's been a customer of my bags and shoes, but she could never buy the clothes.
Right.
And so I think that it's easy to say, oh, every brand should just do this. It's very costly. It is a huge investment. It's also a huge risk if you don't have that customer.
Right.
And when you do this, you have to make sure it fits well. So we were able to leverage StichFix's analytics and fit data to make sure that you do the proper armhole or you do the proper waistline and make sure that when a woman puts on your clothing, no matter what size she is, that it's really made for her body type. Right.
Yeah, and it suits her. Yeah, that makes sense. So technology is also embedded into the brand. You have digital dressing rooms in your showroom. That's so cool. So tell us about that.
I think for us, when we went to look at our store concept, it was just about easing a woman's pain points on her journey as she's shopping. So we just said, what are 5 simple things we can do? Can she order a size? Can she see when the associate's coming? Can she check out seamlessly?
Right.
Can she
see how
dim the lights?
Yeah.
See how it accessorizes?
Yeah.
And can she shop because most women shop by occasion, like, can she shop according to the different lighting that might be in her room? So I think it was just looking at it from that perspective.
You pulled out all the stops and thought of everything that we're faced with when shopping, which is, really, really incredible. You are an advocate for women, and you want to help them grow and have their own journeys. So how did you kind of think of this? And now it's 5,000 Women Strong.
Well, that is also our year anniversary this week.
Oh, wow. Just a significant week, and serendipitous to be talking to you this week.
Yeah. So that came out of a meeting where I was trying to partner with a company. They asked me to look at their female-founded companies, and I said, great, pull them out for me. They couldn't do that. They had no way to segregate these companies or look at them. And I thought, well, if this is happening in a big company that has thousands of clients, it's happening to the consumer. She doesn't know how to shop female-founded. So could you have a symbol? As a mom, I turn over all my food to see if it's organic or non-GMO or no parabens in my skincare. Could you turn over a label and just see, oh, this is a woman, and vote your dollars that way versus not knowing who you're supporting? Yeah. So that was the goal. We launched again a year ago, and the momentum has been phenomenal, has really organically grown into this vibrant community. And the sale's on over 2.5 million products now to date. Your podcast, SuperWomen, is another way you showcase women. And it started from a fireside chat. Yeah, I was doing these fireside chats in my stores just to, have a way for women to interact with the brand that doesn't have to do with shopping. Yeah. And those were really successful, but I felt limiting in terms of 75 people could fit into the store. And I thought if I can take this and make it to something bigger, then 10,000, 15,000 people can hear these stories, or unlimited, I guess. It's been just as rewarding for me to hear those stories as to the listener. Yes, absolutely. I loved so many of the episodes that I've listened to with Athena, with Noor, Amreen Katya. Like, every single one was so distinctly engaging and relatable. And you just want to binge through the whole thing. So you're doing a great job. Thank you. Yeah. Tell us about family life, starting with your husband and how you got married. So I met my husband at a party in LA. I was actually in LA because I was volunteering at a charity event, but I also went out there to reunite with my ex-boyfriend, who every year would call me and say, I just want to let you know I love you. And he was like the love of my life. So this time I was like, I'm getting on a plane. And as I was on my way to the airport to the ex's house, he's like, you can't come over here. I've got a girl here. So I rerouted to my parents, and ended up going out to a party the next night, and lo and behold, met my husband. Wow. We did long distance for about 1.5 years, and then his career, basically with the recession of the music industry and when that whole thing shifted, he was a thriving musician, and his label went out of business, and he was told, come pick up your masters and you're free and clear to go. Okay. And he called me. He's like, well, I just lost everything, so I'll come to you versus you come to me. Right. And I was literally starting out. It's not like I had any, I had an intern and myself. I was working into my apartment. I could barely pay the rent. Wow. So he saw that I had like the small tender shoots of something. Yeah. And I was like, I think I can afford to have you not help me with rent for like a month for you to get on your feet, but that's it, buddy. So, we got married about 3 years later, and then we decided to have kids. I had my son in 2011, so about 2 years later. Okay. And you have 3 kids now. We have 3 kids. So what are their ages, and tell us about their personalities and stuff. So Luca's my 7-year-old, my daughter is 5, and I have a son, Nico, who's 1.5 years. Luca, from the get-go, has always been this sweet, kind of earnest soul. When people say typical boy, he's not, I guess, in the sense of aggressive. And we have 2 neighbors that live right across from us, and they're they fight all the time, and they beat each other up, and they're uncontrollable. Right. So he's always just been very sweet, very active, but just he has a very warm heart. And then my daughter, Bowie, I was like, I have to be conscious about how I'm going to raise my daughter to be strong. Yeah. From the minute she came out, that woman is get out of my way. Exactly. So I'm just trying to not get in her way. I just am saying, so she's actually been my toughest child because I don't want to squash that. But as a parent, it's really hard to deal with her lack of, no one will control me. And then I had another boy who, thank God, is probably the sweetest of all of them and the smartest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For his age.
Right. Milestones and all that.
So I can't complain.
Oh, wow. So there's a lot of parallels here, and I think it's so sweet. So I have 3 as well, and same, 2 boys and a girl. And again, same dynamic. I actually spoke to a personality psychologist expert, and she said oftentimes you have a cooperator child or a challenger child, and you could easily kind of classify. And I was like, my daughter's my challenger. Like, she will give me that pushback. Very headstrong, which is awesome. You know, it's not something that we have to like pass down, and it's great. But she's like the boss of our house. Right. and my boys are just super sweet.
Right. So funny.
It's hilarious how it works out that way. So what was it like being, a first-time mom for you? Just the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it.
So I think that my approach isn't what I thought I would become. I think I didn't necessarily none of my friends had kids yet. So I really had nothing to compare it to. And I think the thing that sort of woke me up was I was, before kids, sitting with a friend of mine who was pregnant, and we watched The Business of Being Born.
Oh, okay.
And that gave me insight into this world of like, oh my gosh, like this is a messed up situation. What is happening in America to women and their care. And so then when I got pregnant, I really wanted to be as researched as possible in terms of like, what are my rights? Where are my boundaries?
Okay.
I think having a doula, which I didn't originally, again, anticipate on having, but she started out doing prenatal yoga with me, and then I just ask her in a safe space, like, why would I have you versus a doctor or a nurse or whatever?
Right.
And so when I finally figured out, like, I want a natural birth, I want a midwife for that, I want a doula, I want to have as little intervention as possible, that's when I began this path of, like, more women need to be exposed to this.
Yes.
And I want to amplify that in the best way, never to shame anyone, but to know that like we're being sold a horrible bill of goods in this space. And as far, you can have, it's funny, it's ironic, you can have someone who's fighting for the rights of women, but then we'll let a doctor tell her she's too weak to have a baby, right?
Right, exactly.
Or tell her she doesn't know better and that person doesn't have a vagina. So
yeah.
I think there's a very, like a blind spot sort of on a lot of women.
Yeah.
And I also think like women have been having babies for 10,000 years, and it was like 100 years ago that we were told we couldn't really in the way we should.
Right.
So then I became sort of on the spectrum of advocacy, like really advocating in that way, and the same with mothering. Like I care what goes into my children. Am I perfect all the time? No. Yeah. Yes, they have pizza, they have cake, you know, we eat out. But I think my goal is to raise strong, healthy children and take the extra measures in order to do that. And then for moms to like show that like it's not an easier path, but like how you can be healthier in myriads of ways.
Yes, so true. And then you're basically educating that these opportunities exist because, like you said, so many of us are completely blind to it. We don't know that that's a path that we could choose.
Yeah.
Very cool. One thing that I know I've felt is, and so many moms out there feel, is just a sense of isolation at the same time. As much joy that your child brings you, it's really lonely.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck at home, especially when you're with a newborn and you're nursing, and you just literally sacrifice your entire being for this small child. What were those points like for you, and how'd you get through it?
So I was fortunate in that my mom came up after I had each baby, and she said, I'm here to take care of you so that you can take care of your child.
Yes.
Which is a very different mentality of like, some people get a baby nurse, great,
Yeah.
but that baby nurse is there to take care of the baby, right?
Yes.
And so I think my mom focusing on me, making sure I was fed, making sure I was like whole, I could then pour all my energy into that. And I also think in talking with a woman who started the bump and the knot.
Yep.
In previous societies, in tribal societies, and up until a few hundred years ago, there was a community that would just naturally be around a pregnant woman.
Oh, wow.
And since we've all gotten our own apartments and separated our rooms from our children and all these things, it's lonely as hell, but we created that.
Right.
It wasn't always that way, right? And so
It
you
was
lose
the village.
your grandmas and your sisters and your aunties and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so I think however you can recreate that tribe, whether you're paying for it or you have relatives that you actually like and
Yeah.
are not, stressful to you or friends, you have to recreate that. So you're never just alone with the baby all day, because that's not how the human race made it this far.
Exactly.
So I think it's key to sort of keep that in mind and say, who's going to be the tribe? There's amazing women called postpartum doulas. They come to you. So I knew for me with my son, going back to my first, at 6 weeks, I was bored out of my mind. I wasn't lonely. I was just bored.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to go to work, halftime and see how I like that. So my first day, I sobbed. I was like, I'm damaging him. But once I got into this thing, I was like, I'm at work from 1 to 5. This is great. I finished my leave like that. With my daughter, I was like, I'm taking the full leave because I just want to max out.
Right.
And it was beautiful weather, so I could be outside. And then with my third, I was like, I'm definitely taking the whole leave. But it was February. Yeah. And let me tell you, you can't take that baby anywhere in February. So that's when at a month, I was like, I'm back. Yeah. I gotta go. I gotta leave this apartment. I know mentally for me, I cannot just be around a little stuffed animal all day long. So not that I wanted to go back to work or mentally or physically I was ready. I had to get out of the house and I couldn't take him. So one of us had to peace out.
Exactly. I totally get that. And then did you have, we both are members of Hey Mama. So was that kind of like a support system for you as well?
I think Hey Mama for me is a support system of whether I need a babysitter in a different city, because I take my newborns or my babies with me the first year because I breastfeed them.
Yeah.
So a babysitter in a different city to I need a tote bag printed. I mean, the range of things that you can get out of that community. Or, when the day I launched my podcast, I could see a direct correlation between how many Hey Mama members there were and the spike in downloads.
There you go.
And I was like, cool.
Yeah, that's your tribe right there.
Yeah.
What are some of the values that you've learned from your parents and that dynamic that you want to pass on to your kids?
Definitely the hard work and the getting your children to contribute. It's far easier for me to just clean up after them and to give. Yeah. But I really, again, want to create this mentality of if you want something, you have to work for it. So I say no a lot.
Yeah.
Each time I say no, it's the words no are coming, and then in my mind, I'm like, I'm damaging them. But I'm like, I'm not. They're going to become self-sufficient humans.
Yes, yeah.
So that's...
And you learn the hard way, not all parents were, I feel as disciplinarian, and it did you good.
Right.
I
I also think that I try, and as much as I can, keeping them from dying, try to let them be self-determined. They are little adults in tiny bodies. Right. And so I try and have them be as self-determined as they can without squashing that, because I think I see too many parents holding them back or, telling their kids how they should act all the time. And I think having a dialogue, if you have the time and the bandwidth for it and the patience to get them to come to a conclusion.
Yes.
And then
problem solve. And,
yeah. And then something we learned just recently, because we were working with his kid's counselor, is to give, if you have more than one kid, give them their own time with you, because they don't ever get it. And for our most challenging child, she became a different person when we said, okay, the next hour or 2 hours, you're going to make the plan. We're going to do everything you say. No presents, no TV.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing. You can't endanger your body. No presents, no TV.
Right.
Tell me what we're going to do.
Okay.
And to see her thrive under that, and we do it once a week now, and we kind of divvy it up, has been a huge game changer for us.
What are some of the things they want to do?
I mean, her typical girl, she wants to get a manicure, but she picks my color, she picks the place, and we go get lunch, she picks it, she orders, she decides, she makes all the decisions for me as well.
Right.
And she's in heaven. And then for my son, he usually likes to play sports or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just think that's been hugely helpful for our family.
Yeah. Do you have any other kind of tips, words of wisdom that you've learned as a mompreneur, really, for the other mompreneurs out there?
I think that I've spent a lot of time exploring my own boundaries, and they change with each baby I decide to add, and that you have to start getting firm, and that means you say no to things, and you might miss out on opportunities, but you have to test where you're okay and not okay, and you can't look at other moms or at other workers and compare yourself. So I think I've over the years learned, okay, this is too much time away. This is too much time with them even, right? Or this is when I can't go out on the, like you just have to know for yourself what's right or wrong.
Right.
And just have your own integrity versus what Instagram looks like.
Exactly. It's like that quote, don't judge somebody else's highlight reel with your behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Let's not forget our quote of the day. And is there a quote that you live by? Or one that's just, kind of had an impact in your life?
I want to say it was Gandhi.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be the change you want to see.
In the world, yeah.
So I really think that sometimes some of these movements can get really victim-y. This was done to me, and this happened to me.
Yeah.
And woe is me. And I'm like, stand up.
Right.
And demand change. And keep yelling. Are you worried you're going to get fired? Good, then you sue. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I'm making an extreme example, but Rosa Parks didn't move from her seat. She wasn't like, oh, the bus driver told me I had to move, and I moved, right?
Yeah.
So these movements don't get started by being a victim to something.
Yeah.
So I think in these scenarios where you feel uncomfortable or you could back down or something, it could happen to you. Just be the change you want to seek or you want to see
in the world. Yeah, absolutely. And when you take the onus upon yourself to do it, you can make the impact. You don't have to wait for the second person to do it.
Correct.
Wow, so true. It's now time for Mom Haul, when we share products we love. So is there a product that you are just loving right now? It could be beauty, parenting related, like wellness, anything that you're like, this is something that I want to share with the listeners.
I mean, I love my Medela Freestyle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm about to go pump right when we're done.
Nice. I hope you're not engorged because that sucks.
I am, but it's okay. Okay. Makes for more fruitful.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's
experience.
like, yep, yeah.
But the Freestyle, and this is not an ad. I'm not sponsored by them.
Yeah.
It's allowed me to continue this journey 18 months in because it's literally the size of a grapefruit and I can take it anywhere. And I've done it in a cab. I'm not one of those people that hides in the bathroom stall. A cab, a boardroom, wherever it needs to happen, it happens.
Right. Yes, totally. That's all. And I feel you. I totally feel you. And where can our listeners find you and support you?
So you can download and share SuperWomen with Rebecca Minkoff. It's wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can follow me at Rebecca Minkoff.
Great. Rebecca, this is so awesome.
You.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I completely forgot to ask Rebecca about her mom sense moment when we were together, since our conversation was flowing and I guess I was just having a fangirl moment. So she sent it to me after. Thanks again, Rebecca, for that. She says she always trusts her gut when it comes to her kids, so she has many mom sense moments sprinkled through the day. A piece of advice her mom gave her was to not take things too seriously. Don't sweat the small stuff because there's a lot of that with kids, and you just have to remember to have fun. Great advice, right? Well, I want to take this time to thank you for listening to my show and being with me as I navigate this podcast journey. There are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, but you have made That's Total Mom Sense part of your lineup, and that honestly means the world to me. You rock. I want to also share a review from another guest of mine, Brooke Allen, and she wrote on Apple Podcasts, I love the variety of topics and the way that Kanika interviews her guests. It's real and so informational. It was a pleasure to be featured, and Heather and I could literally have talked all day. It was so natural and fun to chat with Kanika. So, Brooke, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Love to you and Heather and your two baby daughters that were born recently. And thank you all for tuning in. Visit that'stotalmomsense.com for updates on my latest episodes. Email me at that'stotalmomsense@gmail.com and follow me on Instagram at KanikaXOXO. See you next time, Super Mamas.
That's total mom sense.